Good evening, YouTube. You guys are now watching another segment of the Cali Effect. Today, we are going to be going over the Mermail Abyss deck profile. This deck is so good, and as you guys can see, if you haven't seen, you need to click on that link. It should be at the end of the video, actually, of me playing Mermails. This deck summons a huge amount of monsters for little to no cost, as in, card usage, and then puts massive amounts of monsters on the board, either A, that OTK your opponent, or B, just cards that your opponent can't overcome and you eventually wind up winning anyways. This deck's main weakness would have to be back row, which we actually do deal with it very well, and also cards like, floodgate monsters like Vanity's Emptiness. Consequently, cards like Mistake do really slow down this deck now because of its search, because it searches a lot more. But let's get down to the deck profile, and I'll show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. It's a lot different than a normal Mermail deck profile, and there was actually, let's just get down to it. So, 3 copies of Megalo. That's that's new for Mermails for a very long time. They really haven't ran 3 copies of Megalo in a long time, but 3 copies of Tias, 3 copy of Pike, 3 copy of Infantry, 3 copy of Marksman, another thing that they haven't ran in such a long time, 2 Dragoons, 3 Undying, 2 Gund, 2 Controller, 2 Lind, 1 Turge, and 1 Mulling Glacier. That sums up the monsters at 28. As for spells, 3 copies of Instant Fusion, 2 copies of Salvage Raigeki. That's 6 spells. For traps, 3 copies of Breakthrough Skill, 2 Sphere, and 1 Raigeki Break. Immediately, as you guys see, I want to actually address the Lind Sphere ratio. Now, as you guys can see in a normal Mermail deck, you run 3 Spheres, 3 Linds. That has never been contested. A lot of players are dropping Lind and Sphere, if not running just 1 and 1. I felt that I'm in the median. I could probably run 1 and 1, and 1 and 1 is probably actually, good because the scale cards aren't that bad against Necros. There's 1 scale that negates a spell card, so it's pretty good against your opponent's ritual spell cards. My logic behind running 2 Lind, 2 Sphere is that I want to search cards. I want this deck to search as fast as possible. We already know that Turge is a main reason, or not Turge, Pike is the main reason or main way to get Undying to your hand. Pike's a main way to get Gund in your hand. So I want to get to this card as fast as possible. How do you get to this card fast? Well, it's through Lind. Sphere searches Lind, Lind searches Pike, Pike searches Genex Undying. And that's always how Mermails have been. Unless you're actually, you're doing a power play with Mermail Abyss Lind. As you guys can see, I don't run lead. You could if you wanted to, but I don't. Genuinely, I only use Sphere to search. And while people do say it's slow, I completely agree in that aspect, but also feel that this deck needs to search. So I'm running 2 copies of Sphere, 2 copies of Lind. I probably could go 1 and 1 and probably add a couple of more cards like, Max C, Effect Veiler. This would actually be good to take these 2 out for Max C. So, it is a thing. I just felt that it was really good to search. Another thing that you guys might want to address is the 3 copies of Undying and the 2 copies of Genex Controller. Why not run 3 and 3, or why run so many? I obviously want to see this card as fast as possible if I'm running 2 Lind and 2 Sphere for, just for that little setup. So I opted to run 3 Undying just to see it fast enough. If all else fails, I have multiple copies of my Undyings that I don't need. They are water monsters. I can pitch them for my Megalos, my Turges, my Pikes. I can pitch them for just about anything in the deck, so it's not that much of a clog. A lot of people like to say, oh, these are bad cards to run in there. Well, first of all, they just became the most important cards again because of Instant Fusion. And secondly, they're not horrible at all. Genex Controller, it opens up so many plays for the deck. It's not even funny. Being a normal dark monster is like the best things for it. So first, it sets up all of your synchro plays. It being 3 and your Atlantean monsters, or your Mermail monsters being 4, lets you go into Gungnir, Black Rose, which are 7s. You can make cards like Leo, which are really good against the opponent. And furthermore, it allows you to mash change into Darklaw. Like why not, even consider running cards like that? It not only as well as it sets up your Instant Fusion play, you can make a Darklaw, which cripples Burning Abyss, cripples Necros, cripples Shadows. It cripples against so many other decks if you decided to go that route. If all else fails and you're not hitting a controller, hit any of your Mermail monsters, or almost any of your Mermail monsters, Mermail water cards actually, and turn them into an asset to destroy your opponent's back row. Something that this deck has a problem with. So I decided not to go that route ultimately, but it's not that bad. So it is what it is. If I weren't running Salvage, what I will talk about later, I probably would be running this card just for the sheer reason that I can make Darklaw and I can make Acid. 2 amazing cards that disrupt the opponent's board, and it's a discard card for Gun. So that's that. 3 copies of Megalo. Megalo is it's came through hard times. There were times where people ran 1, there were times where people ran 2, and I'm back to running 3. I want to be able to abuse the full fact that this deck can OTK, and it really relies on Megalo special summoning itself, tributing a monster, preferably Undying, and being able to attack twice. Megalo also searches your Abyss Spheres, and if you do decide to run it, Abyss Squall, and if you do decide to run it, your Scales. So that's like, you know, I just feel it's the best card for the deck right now, you know, and the fact that I can run as many targets as I want to, and since Undying and Instant Fusion replenishes so many targets to my hand, I can actually run 3 copies of Megalo and get away with it almost every single time. If I draw 2 copies of Megalo, great, I search into the gun and then I special summon 2 Megalos, another way to OTK your opponent. 3 Infantry and 3 Marksmen are just a byproduct of me running 2 Dragoons and, you know, many ways to get to Dragoons and put it in my graveyard, and I'm gonna have to, I can't always add power plays. Sometimes I need to add these little guys to get over my opponent's cards to allow me to make the power plays that are already in my hand. Turge, it actually could have, and you know, if you guys still want to run, it could have been a Deep Sea Diva. Deep Sea Diva is a Sea Serpent, it's searchable through Dragoons, and it opens up a lot of Synchro plays and Exceed plays. So, I mean, that's not a bad of a card. I just opted against it because I did not have the extra deck space. Or even the room. I just felt that Turge, you know, recycled all my guys. Another thing is about Salvage. Salvage was a last second, you know, thought card. And I was like, you know what? I really don't like this card. But if you look at it from this point, Undying sends Dragoons. That adds, you know, one of these guys to your hand. And then you instant fusion into Norden, and Norden special summons Dragoons and Exceed summons and adds another one of these guys. Furthermore, you follow up with a Megalo play, you have 2 of these guys in the graveyard. Hello, McFly. That, and I don't want to draw, I mean, it helps, really helps mitigate anything that becomes dead in my hand, because I have so many cards to pitch. Like, you draw that dead TS, well, activate Salvage, and now your TS is live again. I really, really like the card because it is so easy for us to put 2 monsters in the graveyard that Salvage can recurse back to our hand. Raigeki is Raigeki. It helps us clear boards. Breakthrough skill, I actually thought about running Effect Veilers or Fiendish Chains. Fiendish Chain because it stops the opponent's attack. And Fiendish Chain breakthrough skill is still a debate. But ultimately, I did want to stop Soteller because that is probably the dumbest matchup in here. So I opted with the breakthrough skills because they stop the Call of the Hunted interaction on my turn. So yeah, that's a thing. The 1 copy of Raigeki Break has been intriguing nonetheless. I mean, let's say if I do draw dead controllers or dead Undyings, I just pitch it. But most importantly, I pitch Gunned and I gain Gunn's effect. So that was pretty cool. This deck is still a work in progress. Don't get me wrong, I love it. But I really don't see any weaknesses, but there's always room for improvement. You guys know what I mean? And especially since, you know, you guys hit that YouTube comment section and everybody becomes a super YCS topping, world winning guy. But ultimately, this deck leads for a lot of opportunity in your play. It sets up a lot of big boards. It disrupts the opponent, and most importantly, it OTKs very fast with just Undying Controller and maybe an Atlantean card. This card is like MVP because it's so searchable. When keep in mind, since title is banned, you don't have as much graveyard manipulation other than Salvage in your deck, but if you cannot get its effect, just pitch it for Megalo. So that's a thing. And I've actually found my way. I mean, as long as you have, you know, anywhere between 3 and 7 water monsters in graveyard, which is still very manageable, you can get them out of your graveyard or put them in the graveyard to make this card live at almost every single time. That's pretty much it for the main deck. Let's get on to the side deck. Or the extra deck. I apologize. Alright, actually, before I even go to the extra deck, I mean, there's plenty of other spell cards you could run, like the Scales, Squall, and even Soul Charge. The reason why I opted against Soul Charge is because I run 3 instant fusions and I don't run anything to stop the opponent from attacking. So I assume that I'll be pretty low in life points when this card would be used best. So I just decided against it. For the extra deck, 1 Gaios, 1 Big Eye, no Draco Sack. I'll explain that later. 1 Arc, Castell, Exciton, Bahamut Shark, Dweller. MVPs. I am not running Acid Golem Destruction, to be honest. This is really because I didn't feel like finding my Trites, and I want to see how many people on my YouTube comment section be like, why don't you run Trite? It's such a better card. This card's bad. Yes, I know it's not great in here, but I don't feel like looking for my Trites. These are supposed to be Mermail Abyss Trite, but, you know, I just want to see how many people are going to put that. Black Rose Dragon, Leo, Gungnir, and then, of course, 3 Norden, because you kind of run 3 Instant Fusion, and I don't want to see, you know, anything less than 3 Norden in anybody that runs 3 Instant Fusions deck. Extra deck's very straightforward. I felt like Dracosac doesn't win games anymore. Big Eye wins games, I know that. Gyos wins games, I know that. But Dracosac, I don't really think so. So I just opted out of Dracosac. Honor Arc is probably an MVP over Castell. If I could, I would run 2 Honor Arcs, but I know Castell gets over, you know, just other problematic threats. Exiton is actually pretty clutch because there are points in time in the game when you kind of exhaust your resources and your opponent stops you. So, yeah, Exiton becomes that card to get you back in the game. Bahamut Shark is actually not even the go-to water monster. Abyss Dweller is. And it's because you can still activate Abyss Dweller's effect and attack. That's the biggest reason. Black Rose, Leo, and Gungnir, these cards are just God. I mean, I feel like if you're running the controller, you should be running these 3 cards. Just because Gungnir sets up plays, Black Rose nukes the field, and Leo is your level 7 guys, because this deck will sit on level 7s and not exceed with them, and you'll probably want to make, you know, a strong level 10 monster with your useless controller in hand. And then Norden is Norden. It sets up a lot of plays in itself as well. Keep in mind, you can use controller and Norden to go into Gungnir, so I thought that was pretty cool. I've done that actually quite a few times. And Gungnir is deadly. There was another card that I actually wanted to run, Ragnar Zero, just because it was water, but I really didn't see any monsters, you know, playing a whole bunch of attack modifiers. If attack modifiers actually do come back, then Ragnar Zero will be an amazing card. The extract is very straightforward. There's not really much else to say about it. It's fun. On to the combos. And with the combos, to be honest with you guys, all of the Mermail combos, if you don't know them, I strongly advise you to watch my other Mermail video. It'll be down below in the description. This combo is probably like, if your opponent forces you to go first and you open this godliness, then you're straight. So what you're going to do is you're going to summon Undyne. Undyne's effect is going to send Dragoons. I'm trying to simulate it so you guys are actually playing it. Undyne's effect will send Dragoons, and with Dragoons, you'll add Marksman. Actually, yeah, you'll add Marksman. It really doesn't matter. You'll add a Sea Serpent. Next, you'll Instant Fusion Norden. Norden's effect will special summon Dragoons, and then you'll Exceed Summon. With the Exceed Summon, you'll make Bahamut Shark, since you're going first and it doesn't matter. Bahamut Shark's effect, you'll detach the Dragoons, and you'll special summon a Trite to your side of the field. And then, Dragoon's effects will activate again. And with that, you'll get a Mullen Glacia. And then people are like, why would you get Mullen Glacia so early into the game? Well, if you guys look at your field, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 water monsters. So if your opponent decides to get over your board, you know, abusing the fact that, hey, you didn't put a Mermail monster in graveyard for your Trite, then Mullen Glacia will be following right after. A lot of people overlook that Norden is a water monster, so they think that it's 4 engrave when they wipe you. There's actually been quite a few times where I've been wiped like this, and then they'll be like, oh, you know, on Dev Pro, people like to talk smack to the Cali Effect. They'll be like, you didn't summon Trite. And I'll be like, you kind of forgot about this guy. And then I'll snatch 2 cards out of their hand. Depending on what the rest of my hand, I'll go in from there. The next combo, the next Gen X Undyne combo is actually the OTK. It requires the Undyne, the Marksman, and the Instant Fusion. To be honest, this could be anything. It could be any water monster. But I'm going to say my opponent has like 2 Mirror Force face down, so I'm going to get real nasty. You're going to summon the Undyne. Undyne effect is going to send the Dragoons, and with that, you will grab Mermail Abyss Megalo. Or it could actually be the Megalo, and you'll just grab the Marksman. You'll grab Mermail Abyss Megalo. Furthermore, you will Instant Fusion, and with that Instant Fusion, you'll special summon Norden to special summon Dragoons. And then, instead of making Bahamut Shark, you'll make Dweller. You'll activate Dweller's effect, detaching it to, you know, negate all monsters, or monsters' effects can't be activated in the graveyard. I'll add my second Marksman. Next, I'll activate Megalo's effect, pitching both to the graveyard, special summoning that Megalo. Keep in mind, I haven't normal summoned. Like, you can still go further. Like, I can tribute this, pitch for Tias, and then special summon Mullen Glacia. Like, there's so much more you can do, but this is the most basic. Furthermore, I'll pitch to Undyne. Megalo's 29. What's 29 plus 29 plus 22? I don't know. Is that game? Yeah, that's game. Yeah, that should be game, because, yeah, that's actually exact game. So, that's enough to win the game right there, if I'm correct. And don't forget that you still add the sphere to your hand. So, This deck makes a lot of plays for the people that actually want to know the real Mermail combos. Other Mermail combos, you have to check my other Mermail video, and I'll explain more, other Mermail combos that you could be playing. But thank you guys so much for watching another segment of the Cali Effect. Oh, and in that Mermail combo, actually use double pike. You're not supposed to use double pike. You're supposed to use one surge. But check it out if you guys want to know more about Mermail combos. Thank you guys for so much for watching. This is the Cali Effect. Over and out. Hey guys, if you guys want to see more Cali Effect content, there is a video of me actually playing this Mermail deck that I profiled right there on the right side of the screen. Also, if you guys want to see top 5 percentage decreases over the history of Yu-Gi-Oh!, that's on the left side of the screen. Furthermore, you can support the Cali Effect by clicking on an ad or supporting the Cali Effect by going to the link in the description. You can buy the cheapest cards online for the cheapest prices. There's also a Mermail deck skeleton if you guys really got hyped into it. Thank you guys so much for watching another segment of the Cali Effect. Please like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy.